Okay.
Which is nice.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your stopwatch running. Hello and welcome to episode number 11 of the Still Wondering podcast. If you're new to this podcast, then it's about two brothers in their 30s still figuring life out and wondering what to do with it all. And in today's episode, we've got best jobs.
Best jobs.
Best jobs, worst jobs. I think probably, where do we start? Worst or best?
I think worst is probably, it's definitely got to be more interesting, hasn't it? Best jobs is like, I really enjoy my job. Nobody really wants to hear that, do they?
Should we get the good jobs out of the way then?
Yeah.
Okay, then what was your...
Okay. That's immediately quite difficult, isn't it? Because you like different jobs for different reasons, don't you? Well, apart from the jobs I didn't like. But I'm going to plumb for something. I'm going to plumb for the years I spent working as a healthcare assistant. So from the age of about 18, I went working on the hospital wards in Cambridge as a healthcare assistant, or as we were called back then, a nursing assistant. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there were days certainly where I didn't feel like it was the best job in the world when, you know, patients do the things that patients do. But looking back, maybe with some rose-tinted glasses, I think... Yeah, that was good. It's just such basic helping people. That was very fulfilling.
You enjoyed that?
I did, yeah,
For
very
10
much
years
so.
You enjoyed looking after other people that were incapable of looking after themselves.
Well, yeah, to an extent, yeah. And then when I moved on a bit, and I was in the trauma and orthopaedic clinic, I was sort of taking blood and doing dressings and taking stitches out and things like that. So that's sort of
Is that more practical?
Skills, yeah, more sort of skills stuff. So I really did enjoy it for the most part. There were times like working in a trauma and orthopaedic clinic, it was always delayed, and so what I didn't enjoy was constantly having to apologise for the delays, and that just became like you're on a stuck record and people shouting at you because they've got to be somewhere, and you're like, well, yeah. So, but overall, right, that's best one, I think.
What was it about it that made it the best? Was it so my intention or my inclination is to think that you sort of got this goodwill, gratitude feeling from it?
It hits a driver, I think. It presses some kind of psychological buttons, I think. Right. Probably. You know, if we go deep on it, I think so. Yeah, helping other people is something I've always liked to do. So I guess it sort of hit those buttons. Mm. That's probably it. Because you can't love it for the pay. And you can't love it for the 5 a.m. getting out of bed to start at 7 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So you can't love it for those reasons. Yeah, people were generally great, the other staff and that. So it must just be the nature of the work, which is why a lot of care staff stay in care, NHS staff stay in the NHS their whole lives, because it's just constantly hitting that button.
And I guess there's a good teamwork and like camaraderie. Like you're all in it together.
You're all in it. You're all on the shift. Everything's got to be done. And for the most part, everyone just, pitched in and got it done. So that was good. And I learned a lot. I was starting out on my working life, really. I mean, I'd done the part-time kind of work before that when I was doing A-levels. But then this was like my first proper job, as it were. And so you're learning a lot. You're learning how to interact with people. You're learning how to be a good subordinate in a hierarchy, in a structure. There were this level and that level and more seniors than that, and you learn your place and what you should and shouldn't do and all these sorts of things. Right. You're laughing. I just, sounds like hell to you, doesn't it?
I just couldn't deal with this.
What?
Just starting with the word hospital, I go, no, I'm alright. Let alone the hierarchical nonsense that you've got to jump through. Yeah. That sounds like utter hell to me.
Well, I remember being on the induction programme and getting queasy at the thought of certain things. I remember one of the sessions we learnt about was this thing called last offices, which is what you do when somebody dies. And I just immediately had a cold sweat in this classroom because it hadn't occurred to me that people died in hospitals.
So when someone dies, not if, it's when.
Yeah. I just assumed like these kind of secret ninjas came and sorted everything out. But no, it's your rank and file ward staff that are there, often when it happens and attend to the relatives and and then prepare the body for the mortuary.
Mm.
And so I was absolutely terrified. But I was very lucky, actually, when I was working on the ward. So somebody didn't die whilst I was on shift for quite a long time. It was a good few months anyway. And then, so somebody sadly passed away, and the person I'd been working with quite a lot said, I don't know if you've come across this before, but this has happened, and and they kind of gave me a bit of an option, which was just come and have a look and see how you feel, sort of thing. And that was okay. I mean, not everyone might have had such
they're quite sensitive about
choice in the matter, as it were. But I did, so I went and I saw, and I'd never seen a dead body before, and I saw it and went, oh, okay, that's enough for today, thank you. And I was able to go and do other things at that time. But
right.
Obviously later on, then you have to do what you need to do. But but then even that is a really nice thing to do. Once you get over that initial kind of dead body thing, it's more about you performing that last bit of care for that person, which is really something quite profound about it. And again, just hits those drivers to kind of do something nice for other people, I suppose.
Yeah, I never really thought about that. The last moments in a hospital when you've passed away, if you do pass away in hospital, I can imagine there'd be quite a profound feeling looking after that. They're still a person, but they're no longer with you, but it's almost like a completely vulnerable, defenceless, it's the most vulnerable, defenceless person you'll ever come across. Therefore, everything you do after that point needs to be it's sort of done with compassion and care to the utmost.
Yeah. There's a lot of dignity.
Even more so than when they're living, is the kind of...
In a way,
the pressure.
Yeah, in a way, absolutely. Because, it would be the last wash and the last shave and the last comb of their hair, because, the mortuary environment's a very different environment. It's, that's not to say they're not sort of caring and respectful, but it's, it's the place where sort of post-mortems and things happen, so... And
there's a job to be done, isn't there?
Yeah. So, even that stuff, I would still say it was my favourite job.
Wow.
Yeah. What about yours?
Favourite job? I mean, I'm kind of doing it, aren't I, really?
Yeah. Maybe. Maybe put...
So for those that are new to the podcast, or just this time, I'm a full-time magician. I've been in love with magic since I was 6 years old, so that's what I do for a living.
Yeah.
So arguably, I am living the dream. I can either think of other jobs that aren't magic that led up to that point, or I can think of my best gig. Both of which are going to take a little bit of time of me thinking, but that's fine.
Well, how about a slightly different question? Because I think it would be a shortcut, probably, to your best other job and probably your worst job. What other jobs have you had?
What other jobs have I had? Right. Shall I go through the whole list?
Well, it can't be that long, can it?
Okay, so a paper round.
Oh, yeah.
I worked at Black's Outdoor Shop. That was a work experience, which then I got the job.
Yeah.
Which arguably I was the poorer. It was me and Kane, if you remember Kane.
Yeah,
we both
Kane.
got that. Kane was the harder worker. I made better cups of tea, and I got the job.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I got that job. What else did I do after that? God. I had a cleaning job for a short while when I lived in Bedford. I worked at Cambridge Assessment.
You did?
For a while.
See, I thought you were going to say that was your best job.
I'm not sure if I could say that out loud, but yeah. I worked an office job.
In a nondescript.
In a nondescript company. We'll bleep that out. What else? That's on that. I don't think I've worked in any other shops. I think Black's was the only shop I worked in. Office-wise, that office job was the only office job I've done. Oh boy! I did some work with a mate of mine, Jack, who would fit windows.
Did you really?
Some sort of it was only for a short period of time, sort of helping out every now and again. Just to get some extra cash.
They didn't let you touch the windows, did they?
I think I cleaned them.
Oh, okay.
Afterwards and before. I can't even remember what I did with that. What did I do? Because they did all the fitting, so I was just sort of like a dog's body, essentially, just helping out.
Yeah.
Helping out on site.
Oh, was it all like,
really,
right?
lads?
Yeah. Telling bawdy jokes to each other.
What, uncle? Hey! All that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Who's the uncle? Sorry.
That was just the saying. It's a saying that tradesmen, well, I don't know if it's tradesmen or just Jack and his dad, but you call each other uncle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's odd.
It's very sort of, hey, London, got the uncle, we're all each other's uncle.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but I played along.
It's going all Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah. Loop, 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 loop. Hey, it's going to a dance.
Apples and pears.
All the townspeople join us. Fit in the window. Watch the clean, bum scuffling away.
I mean, now you're making it sound like the best job ever. I mean, I'd love that job.
I worked at the gym. I worked at my sixth form and secondary school. I worked for their gym for a fair period of time, actually.
Okay.
God, yeah, I remember that job. Okay.
I'm shocked by this list.
Really?
Yeah.
I hustled a little. Oh no, that's not one. No, because I thought it was restaurant, but I worked as a magician in the restaurant. So for some reason, restaurant came to mind. I was like, oh, there was a restaurant job. I was like, no, it wasn't a restaurant job. I think that's all of them.
Yeah.
I think that's all of them. Did I do any kind of? No, yeah, I think that's the lot. So it was Black's Outdoor Shop. It was cleaner. It was working for fitting windows as a sort of labourer, I suppose. Working at the gym, and was that it? I think that was it.
I think so.
Five jobs.
Not bad.
5 jobs.
I think it's more than I've had.
Yeah.
Which one was the best?
Which one was the best out of those?
Yeah.
Oh. They're so different from each other. I honestly can't pick a best one. I think they're all equally difficult and fun.
Yeah.
So the working at Black's was fun because I got to sort of interact with people and sell stuff, and I quite enjoyed selling things. And I learned a lot of things like how to operate a till, how to take checks. We were still taking check back then. So I remember, I think I did one myself, but we're still taking credit cards over it. I go,
yeah.
And Chip and Pin was just Chip and Pin was just coming into the shop at that point.
Newfangled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But whenever we had to do stock check, that was like the shitty job that you really didn't want to do because it was so boring.
Yeah.
Laurie would come in, you have to count all the boxes and make sure the things were right in the boxes, and that was really something you didn't want to get involved with. So I liked the selling aspect of it, didn't like the stock checking side of things, and I think there was something about putting sales together. Whenever we had a sale on, we had to manually stamp all the sales tags, all that kind of stuff. But that was kind of fun. There's a bit of drama in the team, and there was a team that you could kind of gossip with, and that was quite fun. So that aspect of it was good. And the manager was also sort of, I think she was a good manager. I think Gabriel, I still remember her name. I can still hear her keys. Whenever you heard the keys coming down the stairs, you had to look like you were busy. If she didn't have those keys, I would have got caught so many times slacking and doing nothing. So yeah, that was fun because I think it was a stern but fair manager.
Okay.
And we got the job done, and I think I was trained quite well. The cleaning job, I think, was probably the most soul-destroying, just because I'm quite a conscientious person. Do a good job.
Yeah, conscientious. Yeah.
So whenever I get given a task or a job to do, I try and it's not that I'm trying. I just do the job as best I can. I get a bit obsessive about it. And so I'd clean really well, and the next day you'd go in again and it's all messed up again and you're cleaning it again. I just thought, this is really depressing because you're not making any impact or progress with this. It's just you're doing the same thing every day and nothing changes. And people just come in again, leave it a mess. And you've got to empty the bin again because it's full again.
I mean, I kind of feel like that at home. I clean it and a week later there's cat fur everywhere and...
Yeah.
All bits of the garden that the cats brought in, and I just think, why? What's the point in life?
Yeah. That's a cleaning job.
So I've got to clean it again.
Yeah. If you ever want to feel that all the time, get a cleaning job.
Cleaning job.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
So that was kind of soul-destroying to an extent. Working at the gym was good because it was a proper DOS job. I'd sit in the office, and sometimes Ed would be on with me. I think we painted the office one summer. Anyway, there was another guy called Ed that I shared the role with. So So yeah, that involved getting trampolines ready for something, getting ping pong tables ready for something else in the halls, opening up the gym in a tiny little multi-gym space for people to come in. And I think every now and again something happened in lower school, and this is still when there's upper and lower.
Yeah.
And lower school, just as for context for people that are listening and watching this, my dad went to the same school, so it's a really old school building. You went to the same school, proper dilapidated, piss thin windows, stuff's half broken. You could probably break in by just pulling the door hard enough. That kind of place.
Yeah.
Definitely haunted. That kind of shit. So occasionally you'd have to lock up down the lower school.
Yeah.
And when it got into winter months or autumn months, it'd get darker and darker in the drawing in. So I'd have to occasionally lock up lower school and go there on my own.
Oh, really?
To set the alarm and lock up on my own. That was scary as shit.
Oh, but it was.
That was really freaky.
Yeah.
So I didn't enjoy that part of the job. And the same at upper school. Locking up was still freaky. I'm in the building on my own, having to do the alarm and then get out of the building as quickly as possible. And yeah, after you've watched, 28 Days Later or something, it's like you don't want to have to do that part of the job. But yeah, so that was kind of the bad aspect of the job. But as a whole, that was a pretty good job. Sat in the office, took the occasional phone call that would come in. Mm-hmm. Are you open? Yeah.
Is that how you said it? Is that your customer service? Yeah.
Yeah. I could probably even give the spiel again, but I won't because I'll give away where it is. But yeah, so yeah, that was a pretty good job. I think Netherhall. Oh god, I've said it now. Fucking hell. I think working at the gym.
Deaderhall
was
it Deaderhall?
We have to cut out enough already, Chris.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think working there was probably the cushiest job.
Yeah, I mean, you are given an endorsement for that certain school, well, their gym at least, and the building which was possibly haunted or where you could have been mutilated in some way no longer exists. So
no,
I think it's a prestigious, gleaming, absolutely fine, no problem school.
Yeah.
Worst jobs.
Yeah. So worst job. There aren't any worse jobs. Because when I worked in the office, you worked there.
Yeah.
You got me the job.
Yeah, that's it. That was good fun. Because we cycle
and that
there.
was fun.
Cycle there, cycle back together. It's dead kind of.
Yeah. Lunch at the same time. I think the hard part about that job was the job I was meant to be doing I couldn't actually do because I tried to do it. I was in compliance and I had to tell people like if they'd broken their finger or they'd had somebody lost in their family, I had to then give them more points or less points depending on how severe their ailments were or position was. I just couldn't deal with it. It's too much pressure because clearly you found it very easy. Now 3%, fine. Next. For me, I was like, well, if it's 3%, then that might be the difference between what university they can go to. So I'm really affecting this person's life. So I kept on having to ask the team and refer to the team to the point where I think that the lady at the time, I can't remember who it was, but she just put me on some other job. So I was trying to find. The thing I did enjoy about that job was finding people that were cheating on exams. I was very good at that.
Yeah.
And uploading coursework. I remember doing that job just thinking, what the fuck are this company doing? Like, there is software that will automate this. Why am I manually moving folders from one thing to... I just could not get my head around that. And I hope they've changed it. Because if they haven't, they need to fucking bring that up to the times. Because they are wasting hours. I remember being really frustrated about that. Because you had to check that every file had gone through. And it was just so time consuming. God.
Yeah. You liked the internet monitoring as well, didn't you?
What was internet monitoring? That was the cheating.
Looking for signs that people were.
That was really fun.
Yeah,
I got really into that. I spent hours doing that, but I was only allowed to do an hour a day, I think.
Yeah.
But I got very good at that. People tend to use the same emails and usernames, so you can kind of find out where they are online. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. So if this whole magic thing goes to shit, then I'll probably become a PI.
Yeah, why not?
Fun.
That would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? Because I don't think there's many rules around it either, so I think you could go rogue and it would be fine. As long as you stay within the actual law. Yeah,
I think to an extent a lot of them probably don't stay within the law, but they just don't tell you how they got the information. So I found this out. How? Don't need to know that.
Don't need to know. Found out. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that'd be a fun job.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of exciting, but also risky, depending on what level.
Yeah, it depends what you're dealing with, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it was a simple, like...
Is my partner cheating?
Yeah.
That's kind of low risk, whereas it's... I need intelligence on this because, I don't know, people committing some fraud or something.
Yeah.
That'd be a bit more shady, or drug dealing.
Like mafia or something. Yeah, absolutely.
So I haven't really asked the question, have I? What was my worst job? Probably the cleaning job.
Yeah. Sounded like cleaning.
Yeah.
Because you haven't said any redeeming features about it.
The only redeeming thing was you could turn up to work and just do the job and go home. Like, there was no need to speak to anybody. You'd see the team at the beginning. There's like a team of 4 of us. Turn up, get our kits for cleaning, and then you found a routine, and you'd find the quickest way to do the thing as well. You'd figure out, right, if I do the bins first, then that means I can hoover and then do the desks, or do I do the desks first? And you find the quickest route. So that was how I kept it interesting, was trying to get as efficient as possible. That's the only way I could keep that job interesting. That's interesting. I kind of gamified the job because it was so dull. So yeah, that was probably the worst job. Best job out of the lot, probably the gym job, because it was quite cushy. And I mean, the redeeming factor with the office job was I got to work with you.
Yeah.
And that's probably the only real benefit.
Which, of course, is an absolute privilege. And
Yeah.
No, it was cool working with you as well, I have to say. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's...
Well, if I had to say my worst job...
Yes.
Would... I would say it was... So I worked for a retail place. So I did my work experience there. And then they took me on for like a couple of months in the summer. But because I was only 16 at the time, they paid me a junior wage, which was £2 an hour. But I mean, at the time, you're going from pocket money, which is
25p according to you.
It was about £1 a week or whatever ridiculous sum it was at the time. Far less than what you got just a few years later, put it that way. Inflation. So it's £2 an hour. So, you worked for a week and got, I don't know, 70 quid or something. Went, whoa, £70. That was like, that was literally like a Christmas or a birthday sort of money, Yeah, it was. Why was it the worst job? I think it's the worst job because you just don't know how to behave and operate in that kind of environment. So I remember when we were doing the work experiences, me and my mate Tom. We were just you're just kids, aren't you? We were tasked with doing like a shelf border. You know the thing where the prices sit in the plastic thing?
Yeah.
Well, behind the prices was like a lovely coloured strip. And our job was to change the coloured strip.
What?
By getting loads of bits of card and cutting them to the right width, so they would fit nicely behind the...
Someone gave you this job?
So that was our job, that was our...
I don't think that's an actual job. I think they just gave you a task to do. Nobody hand cuts.
It was quite a small store, to be fair, so they probably were
inventing jobs.
I think one of the main reasons we were there actually was because this was shop sold everything, just a bit of everything, and they'd have like compost delivered. And
I know what job you're talking about now. Yes,
so
right.
We were 16 years old carrying 10 kilogram things of compost. I mean, it's absolutely back-breaking labour. Nobody showed us what to do or how to lift it. So we're just
£4.
Just twisting our spines, dragging it along,
Before the days of health and safety.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody might have shouted, "Lift with your knees" at some point, and that was the training. What?
Stop putting it on your knees.
Lift my knees. What? Anyway, this job doing and we I don't know what we were doing. We just cut it very badly. It looked absolutely appalling, and then the manager come along and absolutely tore a strip out of us both. 16-year-olds, sorry. And we were made to do it all again, but we did it very well the second time. Right. I think because we were scared.
So you got a bollocking from the guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. And from then on, I never set a foot wrong in a workplace.
There you have it, and it works.
Yeah, it works. I wonder if he's still there. I mean, the shop's still there. I might have to pop in.
You know, like your mate. I wonder if your mate is still there. You walk in tomorrow, he's cutting your cardboard.
He's still going. Go, wow. Wow.
You do really straight lines now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got really good.
What have you been up to?
He's got different things. He's so that was overall kind of the worst. I just think the worst job, and because there were so many different things in the store that you never really felt like it was always just bitty. Like you'd be on the tills for 10 minutes, and then there'd be a delivery, so then you're humping the sacks around, and then there'd be 2 hours of just staring at the wall because there were no customers and nothing, you know. And then, in retrospect, £2 an hour was probably even for the year 2000 was a bit rubbish.
Wow. Okay, so that was your worst job.
That was my worst job.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that being a bad job for you because I think you quite enjoy learning new skills. Yeah. You've got quite a growth mindset. Yeah. Which we should talk about in one of the episodes, actually. Yeah. I think that'd be a good one. But yeah, I can imagine that being quite dull. Mm. God.
Well, we'd really like to know what your best and worst jobs are.
Yeah, send them in. Send them in and send a little bit of details, and we'll read them out at the end of the next one, or at the beginning of the next one, or however it works. But do you want to give them the email? Yeah,
q@stillwondering.com, and that's wondering with an A, not an O. Still wondering. q@stillwondering.com. Do get in touch.
Fabulous stuff. Excellent. Well,
cool.
Nice one, bro.
Well done.
See you in the next one.
Ta-da.
Bye-bye.